Hello, friends, and welcome to this episode of Relational Skills in Real Life. This is Christy Harang, Director of Operations from Thrive Today, and I temporarily am standing in for Chris Corsi as we do a series of interviews with our teammates and some of our trainers and volunteers from our Thrive Premier training. And so this is a chance to get to know our team a little bit better and hear about how relational skills are making a difference in their lives. And so today I am so excited for our guest. Barbara Moon is joining us, and I'm going to introduce her in a minute. But Barbara Moon, she's a mom, a grandma, a great grandma, and she has been involved with the life model. I'll tell you about the life model in a minute, but she's been involved with the life model and relational skills before relational skills were actually termed a thing. So she's been around, she's a veteran, she's been around from the very beginning. And she also serves with us at our Thrive Premier training. She's just such a gem. And so, Barbara, hello, welcome. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, it's awesome to be here. I'm so excited to be with you, Christy, and to the audience that may watch this.
All right. Well, I just really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today, Barbara. So before I have Barbara jump in and share a little bit more, I want to just define a couple of terms for you all. I mentioned the life model, just in case you're not familiar with what the life model is. This is an idealized conception of God's design for how we can mature and be transformed into the image of Christ across our lifetime, from cradle to grave. And they have three pillars, and one of them is the relational skills that we teach and train in at Thrive Today. And so we are rooted in the life model. And if you want to know more about it, I'll put a link in the description of this video so you can learn more. The second thing is I've talked about, our Thrive Premier training. If you don't know much about that, we'll also put a link to the description of that in the video because we're going to be talking a little bit about our 5-day Thrive Premier training. So, Barbara, with all that said, like I said, you have been around from before we were a thing. So, just tell us, how did you get connected with Dr. Wilder, with the life model, with relational skills?
Okay, this is one of my favorite stories. I met Dr. Wilder in 1993 at a conference, and so I kept in touch with him for the next several years, talking to him over the phone while I worked through a trauma and a divorce. And then he started learning about the brain and joy, and he just kept telling me everything he was learning. And then he started Thrive. And so the first year, I think there were only just a few people there, but I went in 2003 to the first one. And it was kind of funny when you look back on it because they were trying to do all these skills that they hadn't tested on anybody. So I've been around ever since.
Oh, that's so fun. I love it. And so two things I want to mention. First of all, so Thrive in the beginning, like Thrive was just the 5-day training. And we now call it the Thrive Premier training just to differentiate it from all the other things that we do. That's how Thrive got its start, was through this 5-day training, which has its own history of itself. And we have a webinar if you want to watch more about that history. But it's so fun that you've been there from the very beginning. And one of the things I just so much love about you, Barbara, we were talking about this, is that you're a veteran. You have been around from before the very beginning, and you are the queen. We're going to talk about this, the queen of spreading relational skills. Um, you live it, breathe it. It's such a huge part of your life, and yet you were so incredibly unassuming, so approachable. We've talked about how, as I've gotten to know you and been around you, normally it could be intimidating to be around someone who's such a veteran in all of these things, and that you make me feel so at ease. And it's brought a lot of healing in my life just being around you. And I'm so thrilled that so many people have had the chance to be around you because you are spreading these skills and building relationships left and right. So, can you talk to us a little bit about how you got started spreading these skills? Especially, you lead a lot of groups and small groups connecting with people around the life model and relational skills.
I'll be glad to, and thank you for the warm cozies. That warms my heart.
Oh, you're welcome.
Um, I've done small groups for years, even back into the 70s when they just kind of became a thing to do such things aside from going to church and Sunday school. But I was doing groups with my church, and I started teaching the relational skills, the manual prayer, all of the maturity issues and all of that things, those things. And then it became, I have now have two groups. We call them joy groups. And so we do every week in every group, we do a little bit of appreciation and a little bit of like an Emmanuel moment where we just listen to Jesus for a short time, then we share what we heard. And then we do different books. We've done the Joy Switch, we've done Pandora, we've done two or three of my books. And I'm just seeing people transformed right and left. It is
Oh,
so awesome to actually see entire families being changed when they learn the relational skills.
that's amazing. So, can you tell us, Barbara? I'm just even trying to think. I guess I have two questions. The first is, like, do you have kind of an idea of even how many people you've had the opportunity to lead through these things? Because you've also done online groups and different things. How many different people have you interacted with bringing into spreading these skills? Do you have any idea?
Well, right now I currently have 25 in each group,
Wow.
and that's kind of norm. And they're not all, they don't all attend. I
Mhm.
also do Zoom and people in person. Once COVID hit, we ended up doing keeping the Zoom people. So I have people from all over states and all over the place. I I don't know. I would say hundreds, I guess.
I mean, that's the impression I get is just even being around you and hearing stories or coming across different people that have been touched by you. I guess I'm saying it just to inspire our audience
Mhm.
what an impact we can make when we just live out what God's done in our life. And that you're called to do this. Not everyone's called to do exactly what you're doing, but you're just being you and spreading skills and so many lives are being touched. So give us one, maybe one or two examples. You said you've seen just massive transformation. What kind of things have you seen?
Well, when just thinking about that makes 4 or 5 different people come almost instantly to mind. But the most impressive one is my friend Shonda Myers.
Mm.
She's spoken of in two or three of my books because, and I met her in 2013. She actually lives across the street, and she was butting heads with her 16-year-old, and he is now 26 and is in our group as one of the leaders
Oh, wow.
because of what God did in her life with the relational skills, just teaching her how to synchronize. She's very in tune with Jesus too, which of course is part of it because she listens to him and he prompted her especially. But and I think there you can even see her on some of the Thrive videos because she has such good stories to tell. So
Mhm.
I think about her, and then one of the men. I'm a person that really likes men, and I like to see them want to grow. So my ladies group turned into co-ed several years ago when husbands said, "Can I go to your group?" Because they saw their wives changing. And so I have one of the men named Brent is actually using the relational skills in his business. He's made a business out of talking to CEOs um, and teaching them appreciation, synchronizing, all the different skills. It just thrills me to hear what when he tells me about what happens in some of these meetings.
Oh,
So
wow.
those are two that come to mind quickly.
That's really encouraging, Barbara. I love it. Um, I know that a couple of things I want to highlight that you've done too, in addition to the small groups. One is you actually hosted a weekend event. You brought Chris Corsi out to do a Joy Switch event. So we're going to put in the description of this video, we do have weekend events at Thrive Today. Currently, we have Joy Switch events and True Identity, and we've got some more in the works potentially. But Barbara, tell us about what precipitated gathering people together in your community for a weekend event.
Well, everybody in my groups knows all about Thrive and Life Model. And I had gone a few years without going to Thrive Premier Training. And then I went back a couple of 2 or 3 years ago with a friend to help her finish. And I just thought, we got to get Chris here. And so we started to plan what we wanted to do. And when I found out that the Joy Switch emphasizes the relational circuits, I said, Chris has to do relational circuits. If
Mm,
there's only one thing I can teach people the rest of my life, it's going to be relational circuits. Keep them on, don't talk with them off. And so we decided on that versus the true identity. And everybody chipped in and helped do all the work. And we'd had a great, I think we had over 100. My
mhm.
church allowed me to use their building without any cost, and it was just great.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, and I do, like you said, I love that there were people in your groups that helped donate to make the price more affordable because you really wanted to make it affordable for people to come. So it was really, really a sweet event. And you mentioned, that another thing you've done is you went through a Thrive Premier training on your own, but well, with a partner, but you've gone back with other people in your group who needed a partner to go through it with them, right? So that's another way you've kind of helped people develop relational skills is like, I'll go with you, I'll be your partner, I'll help you get through the Thrive Premier training and the 3 tracks that we do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, I was there so old ago that we didn't have partners.
Okay.
In the beginning, we didn't do partners.
Wow. Well, that's a fun fact, actually. It's funny that I actually didn't realize that that wasn't the case way back when. But this is keep in mind, Thrive Premier training has grown and developed over the last 20 years, and largely because we've had people like Barbara who've been a part of testing it and figuring out how to make it work, and so it's really developed because of all of that. So I just want to encourage people, and then I'll see if you have any last words, Barbara. But, if you have a heart to spread what God's done in your life, Barbara got changed in her own life, and then she just gathered, you already gathered people, you knew how to do that. I'm just going to keep gathering people, and we're going to gather around these resources and these skills and getting close to Jesus. And so, gathering people, sharing with them through small groups, hosting an event so people can come together, bringing people to Thrive Premier training. These are just really great practical ways that we can spread skills in our lives. Is there any other encouragement you want to give to somebody, Barbara, who really is hungry to see skills spread in their lives?
I would encourage everybody to go at least to track one if that's all they can do. It's just like being in heaven almost because everybody's there with kind of the same um, on the same wavelength, and it's just wonderful. And then if you don't have a group, I do talk to people online sometimes that don't know how to find a group. Of course, there's groups that you can get on with journey groups and things, and but if you can just get 2 or 3 other people together and get one of the books and go through it and know that you're stumbling around and you may be a half a step in front of them, but Jesus will meet you and um, you'll see transformation.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Barbara. I'm so glad that we had this time to chat. Really appreciate you being here.
I've enjoyed every minute.
All right. Well, I'm going to just again refer to a few ways that you can learn more about spreading skills. We have lots of items in the description of our video. We talk about how to learn more about the life model and our Thrive Premier training. I also want to mention that Barbara has so many amazing resources. So if you want to see any of her resources, books that she's created, you can go to www.barbaramoonbooks.com. We'll put the link to that in the description of this video. We also have an event that we did on spreading relational skills that's very helpful. If you want to learn more in this area, you can check that out. That is linked, as well as a facilitator page that just has some resources for leading other people through some of the resources for relational skills. So we have tips for leading people through some of our books, as well as a facilitator guide for taking people through our Foundational 5 intro course. And I'm also going to put a link for our weekend events in case you have any interest in learning more about those. So with that, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Relational Skills in Real Life, and we look forward to seeing you next time.